Please.
Hello. Having failed to learn Dutch since arriving here on Monday, we're going to switch to English for a little while, but I'll do my best to go a little bit slower, hopefully. So my first project, industrial project, was the Chicago Sustainable Manufacturing Center. We look at industrial buildings, and a lot of people see peeled paint and collapsing roofs, but they don't see the embodied energy that's left in these facilities. When I look at this, I see a concrete building that has a great deal of potential. And a community, building a community of people who see that potential, we can share knowledge and share experiences. This is a woman who lives across the street from me who stares at a computer all day long, and here she's learning how to install windows, for instance. The way we work is by looking at the waste that's around us and working with the people that are around us and finding their skills. This fellow is a fabricator. He's building a new handrail in one of our buildings out of recycled tubing from a brewery and restaurant sinks, for instance. These days, the Sustainable Manufacturing Center, which is also known as Bubbly Dynamics, is home to about 52 permanent jobs and was renovated using recycled drywall, recycled insulation, steel studs with surface rust, radiators taken out of buildings that were being torn down, et cetera, as much waste stream as possible. These days, it's home to 16 companies, and a great deal of knowledge sharing and work sharing goes on there. So this was a good success and a way to help finance the next project, which is the plant. On the roof of the Sustainable Manufacturing Center, you'll find my daughter Zoe, who's come with us today, and she was a baby at the time, but we planted 9,600 individual sedum plants, each of which is a pixel in Zoe's image, just like a giant printer from the top down, 5,200 square feet as we went. And making sustainability fun is one of the ways that we can get people interested in coming and helping. This was done entirely with volunteers. So at the plant, we have many goals, but laying bare what happens when we consume food. Where does food come from? It comes from the grocery store, and where does it go when you're done? It goes down a hole somewhere. The garbage goes down a hole. Nobody really knows, but if we can show people how those loops function, then people will start to care about where food comes from and where waste goes. That's our goal. The building itself was built in 1925. It was a pork packing plant, so they made bacon and hams and worked 24 hours a day here for 90 years doing those things. We're in Chicago's historic stockyards, the jungle, you'd call it, which was a port for immigrants from all over the world who came to take the low-quality, low-paying jobs and then hopefully move on to a better life somewhere. There's a little bit of that meatpacking industry left, but not a whole lot. And so I was able to purchase this building in 2010 for $525,000 on, I guess it's about 1.5 hectares of land, which is pretty cheap, but nobody really wants a derelict meatpacking plant, unless you're me. And it's a facility that has a great deal of usable material within it. It has things like brick floors with floor drains everywhere, food-grade materials. There's a rail system through part of the building that they used to move the hog carcasses along. And I looked at that and I said, wow, this is a food-grade facility, and it's cast off now, but it has a lot of potential. There's a lot of places that we can go with a structure like this. And some of the things that we work on are not only what to do with an industrial structure, but how to create jobs in the inner city, how to tie these waste loops together and tie people together. There's a great deal of very difficult, very dirty work that goes into it. Here we're plasma cutting apart smokehouses that actually were quite new when they went out of service, but they have usable parts, stainless steel panels that can be turned into backsplashes and can be turned into countertops. The ends of these smokehouses are becoming a server room in one case, bathrooms in other cases, because we're trying to keep as much of the history of the building alive as we can as well. This is a professor from the Illinois Institute of Technology who's also quite good with the jackhammer. So as we go through this process and we build out the facility, we use as much recycled material as possible. For instance, these walls are built from recycled foam internally, tetrised together in blocks and then covered with a little bit of new material. This space is now a cheese distributor, and they do a little bit of manufacturing, but we're reusing the original ammonia evaporators on a new Freon glycol system that we've installed. So it's quite nice inside in parts and quite rough in other places. All LED lighting going in. You know, we do what we can with modern technology while keeping as much of the old intact as we possibly can. This fellow is building an oven which is fired by right now waste wood, but will be fired by distiller's grains from the on-site brewery that's just starting up. In the waste heat side of this oven, we've put provisions for stainless steel heating coils as part of the domestic hot water heating loop. Right now, that oven is in production on absolutely beautiful breads that are milled in the building from local organic grain that's delivered by the farmer directly. So we have a couple of bakeries. We have meat pies being made and vegetable pies being made, incubating small food businesses and trying to get these food companies to be part of our sustainability loops, which is hard because a lot of food companies aren't, and they're not terribly interested in many cases. More of the hard work, this is the space that's becoming the brewery. These people are all volunteers, and they come because they want to help. They want to do something. They want to help forward the circular economy and to work with us. We do a great deal of work with students, both of architecture and many, many other disciplines, and we show their work. In this space right now is a show called Salvage, which is all professional artists working with recycled materials and talking about waste and reuse. That show just opened a couple of days ago, actually. Mural that's in progress right now on the outside of the building that will be an ethno-historic labor kind of mural that will speak to the people in the community who are very excited to see something happening at this place. One of the gentlemen that worked in the building for 34 years and has most of his fingers left lives about a half a block away. He tells me stories all the time of what it was like to work here and how he came to the plant with nothing from Mexico, and now his two children have professional degrees. One is an architect and one is an attorney. They've made the American dream from the meatpacking industry and from his hard work in this place. And so we work also with local youth as much as we can to try to teach job skills and to try to make them part of this, because the last thing we want to be is a spaceship that arrives of white people who land in the neighborhood and pretend to have all of the answers. So we're trying to be as much a part of the community as we can, which is not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult. But we also work a great deal with other local artists to do lighting installations and to put paintings and art throughout the building because you have wonderful ways to combine this industrial history with things that are going on right now, and it makes a big difference visually. We do a lot of panel discussions, film screenings, again, trying to bring people in to get them talking to each other, and getting people talking is the most important thing you can do. The plant is about closing loops. It's about taking the output of one process and making it the input of another process. In this diagram, you can see some of the things that we're working on. Not all of these loops are functioning yet. The anaerobic digester is under construction right now. It will consume 30 tons a day, every day, of waste from mostly other facilities, a little bit from in-house, but primarily from breweries, a fat rendering plant next door, grocery stores, and that incoming waste we'll be charging tipping fees for. So that's an income stream that will pay for this infrastructure. The outgoing waste, the digestate, the liquid and the solid, is also an income stream because now you have compost tea and you have digestible materials. And since we're controlling what comes in, we don't have to worry about siloxanes and other things that other digesters have to deal with and have to pull out heavy metals. That's not in it. This is all food waste that's going in. Waste heat can be recycled, obviously, from grow lights. Carbon dioxide from brewing. Plants need that in our grow rooms. We have 6 farms in the building, and they need that carbon dioxide. We can recycle coffee grounds. We already recycle tea from kombucha brewing, for instance. The digester is key to this, but also there are many other pieces that can be taken away without the digester in terms of the efficiency of the building and how it runs. Here we are installing the primary digester in our backyard, and the secondary digester is down here at the bottom, working with Eisenman Corporation. The gen set is going to burn the biogas and will make about 370 kilowatt hours of power, which is more than enough to power our entire facility. All of those grow lights and all of the HVAC systems, et cetera, will come from that waste from other people. So on the site, we have room for an outdoor education amphitheater. We have, you can see the digester up here in the right-hand corner, and room for more growing, although most of the food production is indoors. We do a great deal of microgreen growing. Right now, that's the low-hanging fruit if you're doing indoor growing in terms of the economic return, what you can get for that material. And those 6 farms, some of them focus more on other produce and fish, but honestly, it's a difficult battle. And the more indoor growing we do, the better we get at it, and the lower the profit margins can be, and the less expensive the produce can be. We do a great deal of aquaponic growing inside through several different organizations, both through our nonprofit Plant Chicago and also through several for-profit farms, which are now actually making a profit, which is a great proof of concept for us. With no natural light, paying full labor, paying full energy costs, and full rent. They're actually profitable, which is a big victory. Again, working with local community members, we managed to get our outreach a little bit farther, get people in, get them talking, because if people know where their food comes from, they're going to be a lot more interested in high quality food and less interested in going to McDonald's or what have you. And that's kind of critical. The aquaponic systems use recycled totes, for instance, and are made mostly from recycled materials. We have raft beds. Now we're starting to decentralize our aquaponic systems and build small systems in staircases and windows around the building so that we can show people that you can grow food in any little nook or cranny, in an office building, in a residential building, anywhere. And so all of that produce will be consumed in-house. Right now, this produce is going more to farmers markets and to restaurants and stores. Obviously, it's greens that we grow mostly. In the winter, who has basil? We have basil. That's good. We do a great deal of mushroom growing, both pink and blue oysters and pearls and gnocchi, lion's mane. And so our mushrooms are now distributed primarily by bicycle, along with a lot of the other produce throughout mostly the south side of the city. We do a farmer's market, again with lower prices in our community, so that, which we can offer because we don't have to transport it, we just have to take it outside. And that helps to bring people in and start to get them aware of food and where it comes from. So the plant is all about bringing food production home and combining it with something else, some kind of manufacturing. It can be combined with residential, office space, anything, as long as you can close those loops and share those energy and waste streams. And that's what we need to demonstrate an awful lot more of. And so check us out, that web URL. And there's a lot going on. So without further ado, thank you.
Thank you very much.